All right, what's going on, everyone? Hello, and welcome in to the Week 9 tristatefootball.com preview show. My name is Safwan Alvi, joined, as always, by my partner in crime, the guru, the shuru. Everything you need to know about high school football runs through this man. His name is Greg Shoemaker, and again, we are tristatefootball.com. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms and everywhere you get your high school football information. Again, tristatefootball.com. And then you can follow us on Facebook, like us on Facebook, right? Facebook.com/Tri-State Football. And then also on the venue formerly known as Twitter. That's at TS Football. That's at TS Football. And you can also find us on Instagram at that same title. And you can also like us and follow us on YouTube, right? Just type in tristatefootball.com and you can see some weekly highlights by our man Sam Reed and some other coaches' interviews as games go final, right? So
And
content
us.
all over the
You can watch
tri-state
us
area.
on that show on YouTube too. So as soon
Yep,
as it's done, we're
absolutely.
up there.
Yes, the Friday night post game show is also live streaming with the folks from NKU and Friday Football Live. They are always streaming with them. We love partnering with them. And as Greg, we are now into the end of the regular season. We only have 2 weeks to go. It is week 9 of this 2024 season, and the slate of games. We have Blitz 5 top 25 matchups all over the board in different conferences. This could be the most impressive slate of games that we have as we get ready for postseason play, Greg. And I'm going to start with maybe the single biggest game of the season because we have two top 5 teams doing battle in the ECC, right? The game that we knew was going to happen. We knew the collision course was going to be upon us. Anderson, the Raptors, taking on Witten Woods. Witten Woods coming in at number 4, and our top 25, Anderson coming in at number 3. This game is going to be at Anderson, right? Both teams come in undefeated, Greg. And it is the matchup we have all been waiting for. We find out which unit wins, right? In every sense of the fashion. The Witten Woods defense has been incredible, as has the Anderson. But then that Anderson offense that we know can put up 45, 50 points, without breaking a sweat. Greg, talk to me about this game and how excited you are about this
Are
matchup.
you kidding me? I mean, you're like you said, we've been waiting for this one all year. We thought it was going to be special, and it is. Two teams that are playing fantastic defense, so something's got to give in this game. The one thing I like is Anderson's ability to put points on the board. Winton Woods hasn't shown it's been able to do that at the pace that Anderson has. So I think if Anderson can get out by a couple of scores, it's going to bode well for him. But the last 3 weeks, Isaiah Garrett, the running back for Winton Woods, the sophomore sensation, he's had 289 yards rushing and 5 of his 6 touchdowns. So the run game's coming around for Winton Woods, and they're going to need that to take the wind out of the sails of the Anderson offense in this one. But again, defensively, it's going to be something fun to watch. We've talked about it all year. Winton Woods' defense has outscored other teams' offense, or outscored the other teams by 5 or 42-35 on the season. So I look for them to try to get some points on defense as well and make this a close game. But I do think it's going to be a little bit lower scoring than we think on the Anderson side of things. The question is, can Winton Woods at least put up enough points? And I think Anderson's still going to probably put up mid-20s, high 20s in this game.
In this game, Greg, when I look at this, possessions are going to be at a premium, right? Especially for Winton Woods. They're going to try to run the ball every single turnover, every single third down, right? Whoever wins the third down battle, right? Because we know these teams are going to get there with the defense that both of these teams play. Being able to stay on the field, right? Being able to sustain drives, being able to dictate the flow of the game. That is what's going to win this game because we know both of these teams are high powered on both sides of the ball. Right. Winton Woods a little bit less on offense. We know that, but their defense and special teams is excellent. And Anderson, they're pretty much well-rounded. So each possession, right, it's going to be such a premium and every play is going to matter so much in this game.
Absolutely. And, the one thing too about this is Evan Dreyer's not going to punt on 4th downs. He's going to go for it on 4th down. So you have to have the mindset on Winton Woods. You got to stop him for 4 downs, not 3 and a punt, because it's not going to happen. Dreyer's not going to let it happen. Even if he's on his own 25-yard line, he's going to use the 4 downs to get to 10 yards.
Yeah, and if I'm Anderson, Greg, and I win the coin toss here, right? We know they trust their defense. We know they trust their offense. Where would you go, or where do you think Evan Dreyer goes? Do you think he kicks the ball and trusts his defense against that Winton Woods offense, or he kind of takes the mindset of our offense can go score on anybody. Let's set the tone 7-0 or 3-0. Where do you think you would go with that?
I think because it's a home game, you got to let the defense have it first. and go out and prove what let them prove what they've already proven this year. Now they got to do it against an upper class opponent. And let's face it, the ECC is good, but there's nobody that can compete with Winton Woods on this night for Anderson in that league.
Absolutely. This Winton Woods offense, we are going to learn a lot, right? We are close to playoff times. We're going to learn a lot about that Winton Woods offense. We cannot wait for that game. And then another game, Greg, it's the Battle of the Lakotas, right? We are going into the GMC. This game is going to be at Lakota West in Westchester. The two teams are standing at the top of the GMC for the first time. And I can't even remember how long. It has been, I think, more than a decade and a half, if not longer, that these two teams ended up, end of the season as the top two teams in the GMC. Lakota East ranked number 8. Lakota West ranked number 2nd. Lakota East coming in 6-2. Lakota West coming in 7-1. Greg, the Westchester is going to be popping. Both of these fan bases are really excited for their teams this year. They got playoff aspirations, but this is what it comes down to, Greg. The GMC is essentially on the line right here. Lakota West can wrap it up, and both of these teams playing some excellent football going into week 9.
Oh man, throwing some points on the board here, aren't we? I mean, West has put up 50 in 5 straight weeks, and East is on a 4-game winning streak, averaging 50 points in those 4 games, 51, I think, in those 4 games that they played over the last 4 weeks. So I look for some big scoring. But Saquon, here's the thing: as much as we're talking about how great this Lakota West offense is, their defense has been just as cool. I mean, as great as they normally are, I should say. They're allowing just 6.8 points per game. But the crazy thing is they only have 11 sacks and 9 takeaways. When you think about all those great players at West, in the secondary especially, they've been takeaway machines the last couple of years. But still, what this reminds me a lot of, Saquon? A team that didn't get a lot of turnovers and didn't get a lot of sacks that won a state championship was East Central last year. 3 plays and out, right? I mean, their defense was just stopping people like that. And this is what West's defense reminds me of a lot right now.
Yeah, and when Greg, that's exactly what it is. A lot of 3-and-outs, right? Short tackling. They're positioning well. Defensive line, right? They're covering their gaps. They're tackling well. And when you're doing that, and the offense knows it's going to be a 3-and-out, right? And it's going to be more than likely a quick 3-and-out, their mindset changes, right? We're going to get the ball right back. We can continue to play our game. We can continue to work on what we need to work on. And a defense that just stops you, and you're not going to get anything cheap on them, right? They're not going to give up the big plays, right? You're not going to get those, 20, 30-yard open seams down the middle or down the sideline. Those are hard teams to play against, and you have to be perfect because the offense knows they're coming back on the field.
Biggest game Jamison Kitten has ever played in his life, the quarterback for Lakota East. And we're going to, this is what makes you a first-team All-Ohio player. I mean, Sam Wiles is the same boat, he's played in big games. He's 18-2 as a starter in his career at West. So this is going to be a fun game. I really want to see how Jamison Kitten comes out and handles this pressure of a big game.
Yeah, it's incredible. Both of these two teams are averaging over 50 points over their past 4 games. And we just say 50 points, like, to think about that, 50 points over their past 4 games. That is absolutely incredible. But Greg, I think me and you both agree that this game is not going to get anywhere near that. I think this is going to be more of a between 20 to 30, maybe 35-point game. Defense is really going to have to hold true in this game.
Yeah, I could see. I could see between 20 and 35 for each team on this game. But I don't see a 5th or 6th straight week for West getting over the 50-point mark.
Absolutely. It's going to be a party at the Lakotas. Big game between Lakota West and Lakota East. And I do want to stay in the GMC between 2 more ranked teams in our Blitz 5 top 25. Number 21, Middletown. Right, they are going in the wrong direction. They have lost 4 games in a row. They were taking on number 7 Princeton, another team that's trying to figure out who they are come playoff time, trying to get that offense rolling. Greg, both of these teams are not playing the type of ball that we saw early in the season. Right after that, lost to Moeller early in the season. We saw Princeton go on a little hot streak. Right, Middletown started the season 3-0, feeling good about themselves. And now neither of these teams is exactly where they want to be. Something has to give in this game. What are you looking for?
So Princeton's coming off its best offensive performance of the year last week, ran the ball exceptionally well. Their 4 top running backs all had their highest rushing outputs of the season last week. against Fairfield. Now, that said, they gave up over 200 yards to Tyler George in that Fairfield offense. So we're going to find out, if they can put together back-to-back good games offensively. And I think that's huge here. And look, Middletown's lost 4 straight, but they've all been to Blitz 5 top 25 teams, and it's just the stretch of their season. But boy, I know that Collie Jones would really like to have a big signature win in his first year as head coach there, and this is the chance to do it.
Yeah, that's what I meant when I meant Princeton not playing their best ball. They had a great offensive game, but then uncharacteristically, as you mentioned, the defense just giving up yards, giving up touchdowns. A Fairfield team, right? Not exactly an overpowered team to say the least. Kind of had their way with that Princeton defense. So we really are looking for Princeton to play, Greg, that complete game, and they're going to need it because the playoffs are right around the corner.
Yeah, it's been a while since they've put it together on all sides of the ball, on all 3 phases of the game. So, yeah, we'll see what happens here. This is a big test for both of them.
Absolutely a big GMC matchup there. I want to jump forward now to the bottom half of our top 25 in the CHL. Greg, first place in the CHL, sole possession. A first place is on the line as number 23rd ranked Wyoming, undefeated on season, goes to Indian Hill, who was 7-1 on the season, undefeated as well in conference play. And Greg, the running backs are going to be putting on a show in this game. 2 running backs that we absolutely love, Devlin Daniel from Indian Hill and then Joel Hancock. Talk to me about these 2 and what you're looking for in this game.
Top 2 runners in the CHL, both of them over 1,400 yards, and nobody. The number 3 running back in CHL has half as many as those 2, if not even half as many yards as those 2 guys, and he's still got 700 on the year. So that's the Schaefer kid over at Reading. And but I look. So here's the thing about this game. Quarterback Ethan Cole got hurt last week for Indian Hill, not last week, week before against Reading, and he's gone for the year. So they got a backup quarterback in. But the thing is, they can't get down in this game because this backup quarterback hasn't had a lot of time to throw the football. So Cole, who was also the Braves' second best running back, also took some of that pressure off of Devlin Daniel. But they're going to need Devlin Daniel to run the ball 30 times in this game. He's averaging 11.1 yards per carry. So if they give it to him 25 yards a game and he gets 200 yards out of it, they got a real shot at winning this puppy. But again, Indian Hill's also going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder. Aaron Hancock, he likes playing with chips on his shoulder and likes his teams playing with that because it doesn't happen very often. But last year, Indian Hill beat Wyoming to end Wyoming's 75-game regular season winning streak, and they beat them 21-3. It wasn't like they just came in and won it in overtime or something like that. This is a revenge match, an avenge match for Wyoming, and I really honestly look for them to come out just blazing and mad in this one at Indian Hill.
Yeah, Greg, this game feels a little personal for Wyoming, right? Maybe Coach Hancock's not going to admit it. They're just going to be like, it's another great team. We respect them, all that stuff. That's great. But after that win streak, 75-game win streak snapped, you're playing for a little extra in this game, right? We know the CHL is on the line. We know there's stakes on the line. This game is going to be a little personal for Wyoming. And ironically, you said that, right? With Devlin Daniel, he's going to be the one to carry them, right? He's the superstar. He's going to get between 20 to 30 touches, if not more. Mm-hmm. And we are so used to, right, the past couple of years, Coach Hancock doing that, right, with the running back we remember as CJ Hester, right, during that end of the year when they were playing Madeira, when Madeira was playing well, 30 carries, 35 carries, 40 carries, saying, what's happening. We know what's happening. We know what's going to happen, but we are going to feed our best player. And it seems like, Greg, that's the formula for Coach Hancock's opposition right here.
I think so. This could be a very quick-moving ball game. Yep. I will say something. Josiah Galt, the wide receiver for Wyoming, he's had at least one catch of 37 yards or more in 7 of the 8 games. So he's a big play guy. And he if the run game is true to form and Joel Hancock does what he does, I wouldn't be surprised if Galt has a couple of big catches in this game. And that could be the very big difference in this.
Absolutely. One of the biggest games of the night taking place in the CHL. We cannot wait for that game. All right, Greg, I want to get into some of our quick hits, right? Some other games going on in the area that we are really excited about. Let's go to the Bluegrass State, right? Let's talk some Northern Kentucky football with 2 teams coming in with a 6-2 record. Number 11, Highlands, going to Connor. Again, both of these teams 6-2. Highlands has 4 shutouts in their last 6 games, and then there's Connor, right? A team that just is tough, right? They play physical. They're a team that no other Northern Kentucky team wants to see. This is going to be a really fun matchup.
It is a fun matchup, but I do like Highlands defense in this. They played very, very well against some solid competition. And, I think they've got some wins, but they're sure looking for a big Class 5A win in that Class 5A District 6. And this could be a night that it happens. I don't know, though. I just think Highlands defense is way too good. And Rio Littmer's starting to play very well at quarterback for them, and they need that to get over as the playoffs begin here.
Yeah, Highlands looking to make that statement and really get their ball rolling as they come into playoff time. Another game I want to go to, Greg, number 17th ranked on our Blitz 5 Top 25, going back to Southwest Ohio, Harrison, right? They're 7-1. They got a lot of good players, right? We love Cole Coops. We love those guys. They're playing a team unbeaten, right? Bishop Watterson, right, coming in at 8-0, whose defense has been rolling coming into this game. And this is a true test, right? A true litmus test. Where are we in terms of Harrison, kind of where they want to be offensively, defensively? Really excited to see what the Harrison Wildcats put on display on Friday.
I am too. This is a really big test for those guys. They've scored 49 points or more 5 times in the last 6 games. The only time they haven't, we'll discuss that here in a minute, but this is a team that can score a lot of points, and they're playing against a defense that doesn't give up a lot of points. So, they got the big 3, Edelsberger, Flick, and Coops. Those guys put points on the board, and they score a lot of touchdowns. I think they have 32 of the 49 touchdowns that Harrison has scored this year. And they're going to need to rely on those 3 guys. And this is a big test, even though this is a Division III school they're playing against. This is a very good Watterson team, and I look for this to be hard hitting, and we'll see if they can move the ball against this Watterson team. It's going to be a good matchup. And the only time that Harrison hasn't scored more than 49 points in the last 6 weeks is when they lost to Clinton Massey, 21-17. And I want to talk about Clinton Massey because they have Batavia tomorrow night, and they are at Batavia. Batavia 7-1, 3-0 in the SBAAC American Division, and Clinton Massey's 6-2, 3-0 in the same division. So this is playing for sole possession of first place in that division, and 2 teams that go about it different. And Clinton Massey's going to run the football, going to run it hard, and then Batavia is going to air it out. Now, that said, Batavia runs sort of the same offense as Western Brown, and Western Brown lost last week to Clinton Massey 35-7. So I don't expect Massey to, they're going to be well prepared, having faced an offense that was very similar to what they faced last week.
Yeah, and Greg, when talking about this Batavia team, another way, right, as we come in late to the season, we are really going to find out what Batavia is made of, right? We know they're a good team. We know they've had a great year, only 1 loss on the season. Nobody's doubting that. But where they want to go in coming playoff time with the run they want to make, playing a hard-nosed, tough team, a team that really flourishes in the playoffs with running the ball in cold weather, playing Clinton Massey at this point, we are really going to find out a lot about Batavia.
And the thing about this I like is but sometimes you get these teams that they know no better that they're there, right? They're just playing and they're winning, and they're not expected. There's no pressure on them to win. And they're just keeping going on and doing it. And I think that's sort of what you like about this team. Batavia's quarterback, Caleb Harris, he's a lot like Justice Burnham in that he plays loosey-goosey. It's not the end of the world. It's just football. And he has a good time playing it. And I think that's one of the reasons why they are where they're at, is because they sort of feed off of his funness, his joviality, being out there on the field on Friday nights. And again, they're one of those teams that they know no better. Whereas Clinton Massey, they know what they need to do to win, and they know what they want to do to get very far in the playoffs. So they're going to be very focused. And we'll talk to Dan McSorley, the head coach of Clinton Massey, on the High School Football Tonight pregame show on Friday that airs from 5 to 6 on Fox Sports 1360 on Friday night.
Absolutely. We cannot wait for that interview. And it's a matter of, been there, done that versus, like you said, never been there. Let's just have fun, right? Let's just go and do it. That's the mentality that's going to come happen in this game. And I want to go, Greg, to another matchup that is similar to the style that a team that we're familiar with, versus a team that we're not so familiar with, right? Number 15th ranked LaSalle coming in 6-2 on the season, playing a home game against Harvest Prep, right? They're a team from Franklin County. They're a Division 5 school, but they were a state semifinalist just a year ago, and they are known to be playing a tough schedule, right? So talk to me about this LaSalle Lancers team and this team that they are playing, this Harvest Prep team in this Week 9 matchup.
Yeah, Harvest Prep's tough. They play a killer schedule. They're a private school that's not in a league, so they have a hard time scheduling games. So, LaSalle's going to have their work cut out for them, their hands full. LaSalle's been shut out twice in the last 3 weeks. They only have one game where they've thrown a touchdown pass in, or two, or they threw 3 in one game. Other than that, they have 7 games without a touchdown pass. So they got to figure out how to air the ball out and spread the field down. Now, what we did see last week against St. X is these guys can flat out play some defense, man. You held X to 9 points, and you could have very easily won that game had you had some offensive thrust and some power back behind you. But man, LaSalle's got a chance here. They really need this game because a win like this, Prep's 5-1. Prep's got a win over Pickerington Central in Week 1, who's 6-2. They're also got a win over Ashland Blazer and Kentucky, and that's the only loss that Blazers got right now. So this is going to be like playing a CHL game. So they better put it all together here and get it rolling. So the one good thing about this is Harvest Prep plays, and they have to travel a lot like a GCL South team. And for them to come down here and play at LaSalle, it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, Greg, and what this LaSalle team reminds me of, right, is the team that we talked about early on in the show, Winton Woods, right?
Mm-hmm.
2 defenses that we really like. We know defense is going to keep them in the game, right? No matter what the case is, they're at least going to hold pat. If not great, they're at least going to keep them in. But it's the offense, right? LaSalle has really struggled on offense. Winton Woods struggled, not as bad. But both of these teams, we know if it comes to an end for these teams, it's going to be on the offensive end, trying to figure out how to score points consistently. Both of these
Yeah,
teams.
absolutely. And again, though, these are good tests going into the playoffs. For both these teams, LaSalle and Winton Woods, this is playoff football. And again, like I said, if LaSalle gets this and gets to 7-2, and then they got Elder next week, they're going to put themselves in a position to win, or not only to host a home game, but maybe 2 and get that top 4 seed there in Division 2, because we know Anderson's going to wrap it up if they win this thing tomorrow night or Friday night against Winton Woods.
Absolutely. A very interesting and exciting game for those LaSalle Lancers. Greg, there's one more game I want to get to before we get out of here, because we have sole possession of Class 6A District 6 on the line, going back to the Bluegrass State, right? Number 11th ranked Ryle, right? Those Ryle Raiders are 5-2 on the year. They're taking on Grant Crossing. They are also 5-2 on the year. Greg, talk to me about this game and what your outlook is on Ryle, and if they have a chance to get that District 6A sole possession of first place.
Yeah, Ryle's got 2 losses by 7 points to Cooper and to Highlands, I think, is both those losses. And I'm a big fan of this Ryle team. Or no, they lost to St. X by 7, and they lost to Highlands.
Yeah, Louisville St. X, correct? Yeah,
Louisville St. X.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I like Ryle. I like where they're headed. I like where they're at. Great Crossing last year. That was their first year in Class 6A, District 6, with Ryle, Campbell County, and Simon Kenton. And they had a bad year. And before that, they had a couple good years. So they're out of Scott County, down there in Georgetown, Kentucky. And they got a little bit of a ride up to Ryle. Not bad, about an hour. But I do think that Ryle, being the home team in this one, they got a really good shot at getting to 6-2.
Absolutely. Those are the big games. Again, Week 9 has a really fun, excellent slate.
Mm-hmm.
Be sure to tune into all of those games, and you can also follow them on tristatefootball.com/scores, and you can get all those games. Greg, anything else you want to say as we get ready to wrap up this regular season and this really exciting slate of games this week?
No, I mean, we're pretty good there. The High School Football Tonight show on Fox Sports 1360 starts at 5 o'clock on Friday, because St. Xavier starts at 6 o'clock, and we will have an extended post-game show with that, because we'll be on till 11 on both Fox 1360 and ESPN 1530 after the St. Xavier St. Ignatius ball game.
Yeah, absolutely. You can catch Greg Shoemaker himself, and then Dan Claskins will be joining him for that extended post-game show of high school football tonight. So that's going to wrap it up for us, Greg. We're really excited for Week 9. I know we're going to touch base as we're going through these. So we thank everyone. Again, tristatefootball.com, at TS Football on the venue formerly known as Twitter and Instagram. And you can also like us on YouTube and follow us on YouTube as well and watch the post-game show. So again, we will talk to you next week. We appreciate you joining us on the Week 9 tristatefootball.com preview show.